Today I want to comment on just one issue with Faithful. I don't know if you will have spotted it. Did you notice that Faithful doesn't stop at the Palace Beautiful? What's going on here? If the Palace Beautiful represents the church, is Bunyan saying it's all right to be a Lone Ranger Christian who's not part of a church? You can just be a Christian on your own, or having one friend, just two companions, forget about the church? No, Bunyan isn't saying that at all. There is a historical issue going on here that you might not get just by reading the book. A little bit of historical knowledge helps. The Palace Beautiful represents, it's a picture of a nonconformist church. What does nonconformist mean? It means not part of the established national church. In the case of us in England, the Church of England. John Bunyan was a Baptist. He was persecuted for being a Baptist. He was put in prison for it eventually because he wasn't part of the established church. The church, as we've heard recently in the King's coronation, the church that is established by law. And he's getting a picture here of the nonconformist church. Is a beautiful thing. He gives a picture of fellowship amongst those who clearly know the Lord Jesus. It's a picture that doesn't fit with the Church of England. It doesn't fit with a national church where everyone in the parish is part of it, whether or not they know Jesus, and where it's ruled over by bishops. He's making a point here against the Church of England and for nonconformist churches, churches which are gatherings of those who know the Lord Jesus in fellowship together. Now, Faithful is a Christian who's not in a nonconformist church. In other words, he's an Anglican. He's part of the Church of England. He's not in the Palace Beautiful. Did you notice another historical issue going on here? The lions didn't trouble Faithful. They were asleep with Faithful and he got past them with no trouble because he had no desire to join the Palace Beautiful, the nonconformist church. It's representing, at the time that Bunyan was writing, there was fierce persecution. That's what the lions represent. Fierce persecution of those who wanted to join a nonconformist church. But Faithful, he doesn't want to join one. So he's not troubled by the lions of persecution. So what's going on here with Faithful? John Bunyan was anti-Church of England. As I've just pointed out from his picture of the Palace Beautiful, he's making a point there about the Church of England and nonconformist churches. But Bunyan had a good Christian friend who was in the Church of England called William Dell. And although John Bunyan was clear the Church of England is not going the biblical way, he still had Christian fellowship that was good for his soul with an Anglican, William Dell, and he pictures it here by Christian and Faithful's companionship. It's an important and a helpful lesson. We can have convictions about how it is right or wrong to run a church. There can be churches that we can say we can't actually be one with that church because we don't think they're doing things biblically. And yet there can be Christians within those churches that we can be one with, that we can learn from and benefit from, as Christian learnt and benefited from Faithful and vice versa. Interestingly, William Dell ended up being kicked out of the Church of England in what was known as the Great Ejection, because he was too faithful a Christian for the situation then, and he was thrown out, as many people were at that time. And that he'd had fellowship with John Bunyan was doubtless a great help to him when he found himself kicked out and needing support from people like John Bunyan. So it's partly a historical lesson, what was going on at Bunyan's time, but with important lessons for us today.